here. I'll give you, I'll
Give,
let you
give me a
go
thumbs,
ahead.
give me a thumbs up when you're ready.
Gary, you're gonna introduce the meeting?
Yep, I
Okay,
will.
I think that's great. Comes Shannon. Here, we're live, Gary.
All right, very good. Thank you, Rebecca. All right, everybody, thank you. Thank you for joining our Hudson 7 Drinking Water Council, our virtual monthly meeting. Today is Thursday, March 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day. I got my green on, so welcome everybody. So my name is Gary Bassett. I'm the mayor for the Village of Rhinebeck and also chair of the Hudson 7. The Hudson 7 meetings are recorded and streamed live on your YouTube channel, and a link to the page can be found on our website at www.hudson7.org. The videos of all the meetings and the minutes are available to the public on Hudson 7's website as well. If a member of the public would like to participate during the public comment section of our virtual meeting, please review our procedures for public or written comments on our website. As always, the Hudson 7 council members, please control your own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you're not speaking to avoid background noises and feedback. When you wish to speak, please raise your hand and I'll hopefully see you and call you. If not, please shout out. Before you speak, please state your name and municipality for all of our audio listeners. So in attendance tonight, I'll do a roll call of who's here to have a quorum. I have myself, Mayor Gary Bassett, Mayor Village of Rhinebeck and Hudson Chair. We also have with us, as a voting member, I'm going to go down. I don't see Elizabeth, not present. City of Poughkeepsie, Mike Rolson. Randy, you're covering for tonight, correct? Town of Poughkeepsie, Jay or Bill, not present. Town of Hyde Park, Lynn Ruggiero, not present. Town of Esopus, Shannon, good evening. And Town of Lloyd, Russ, how are you? Nice to see you. So we have a quorum, and non-voting members again are, I don't see anybody. We have Rebecca Martin in attendance, who works as the river keeper and serving as our interim coordinator. Dan is here, Dan Shapley, river keeper. I don't see Emily. There's somebody on the phone, I'll get to them, or Paul. And then our Dutchess and Ulster County Agency, Brad Barkley and Europa McGovern. I hope will be joining us soon, but they're not in attendance now. Could the person on the phone please identify themselves, ending in 373? Hello, person on the phone? You're muted.
Good evening. This is Europa from Ulster County.
Ah, there you are. Thank you, Europa. And Brad, I see you've joined as well. Thank you for joining. And Grant has joined as well as Mike. So thank you, everybody. I'd like to get started with the meeting. Okay.
Great.
All right. So we have a call to order. We have a roll call and we have a quorum. I'd like, moving on, minutes. We have the 2/20/22 minutes that were sent out. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they were presented. Do I have a second? Thank you, Russ. Any discussion? Voting members, just raise your hand and say aye. Aye, approve. Thank you very much. Okay, communications. Rebecca, could you go through that for us, please?
Sure. So we received a letter from Lee Gow from the town of Esopus regarding the Champlain Hudson Power Express cable and TDI pilot request in Ulster County. Sabah Ali reached out from the Poughkeepsie Journal regarding information about a story, wanting to write a story about lead pipes that Randy responded to and helped to find their way. And Tom Lynch reached out to us. He's a retired faculty member from the Environmental Science and Policy Department at Marist, interested in Paul Melrose's salt front testimony, which we shared with him. And just today, we received a packet of information from Lou from last month regarding PFAS and the Hudson River. And so we'll follow up with Lou and see what next steps we might want to take, any educational opportunities, Gary, as you had thought would be appropriate to get into the matter of leachate, PFAS and leachate in the Hudson River. And that's all that we have this month.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. Any discussion needed on the communications? Hearing none, I'm going to move on. Ulster County, our county representative, Brad, I see you're there.
Brad is Duchess, but yeah. First thing, we've talked some with Grants and our GIS guy about about Red Hook's aquifer mapping, but then we've also started to talk about mapping that we can do for Hudson River 7 in terms of the water supply protection plan work. We were pleased to get Gary's letter in writing requesting a meeting about the staff position for the Hudson 7, and I just need to find out who we're going to have at that meeting, and then we'll be setting that up quickly. We're glad to get Ulster County's concurrence on that. And that's really what I got right now.
Very good. Thanks, Brad. In just a quick question I have, if you're doing some GIS mapping, we're doing a lot of it in the village as well to map our estuaries and water and et cetera. Is that something that we can coordinate with the county on as well?
You absolutely can. As a matter of fact, what we're doing is we're redoing the county NRI. So a whole natural resource inventory. We have one online. It was updated, I think, 2010. So we're looking at doing an update on that. A large part of that will be interactive mapping. We've had a lot of discussion about what's appropriate at the town level and village level as opposed to what might be appropriate at a county level NRI. So we've had a lot of these discussions, Gary, and Devin from my office, I know you know, is leading that. And I'd be happy to put you in touch with them.
Yeah, I would like to.
We do want to know, one of the major things we're trying to work on is what do other people in the county need out of the county NRI? And if it's to help supplement your work, that's a no-brainer.
And then Dan, I know Dan may have a comment because Dan's participating as well, representing the town of Rhinebeck and working with us with the village of Rhinebeck. So we're definitely interested in how we can work together to host these maps and put them all interactive in one common place.
I know. I'll just share the one thing I've heard is that the team that's been working on the Rhinebeck NRI is excited about the Duchess project because of the interactive portal that is planned and the interactivity, because it'll be more static maps at the town level. So I think that
exactly. I mean, that's one of the major. Really, I'm sorry to talk on you, Dan. That's one of the major parts of this NRI update is to make sure that we have static maps, as Dan was saying, or links. So it's not just a PDF of a picture in time. They're updated constantly. So you have a live link. And those kind of maps are one of the things we're trying to get for Grant right now is the aquifer mapping that we have from Dutchess, and that was done. It was done in 1982 originally, because it's based on the superficial bedrock. So it really doesn't change a great deal. But those are old paper maps, and trying to get them in a digital form is something that we're working on. So we'd be happy to talk with both of you. One of the things that we wanted to do was work through the CAC for comments.
Okay. So Dan, maybe we could coordinate with Vanessa and reach out to Devin and have a discussion. Thank you. Okay. Europa.
Good evening, everyone. Europa McGovern from Ulster County. I actually have pretty similar updates to Brad and Dutchess. The coordinator position. Thank you, Gary, for circulating the letter proposing the meeting. So that's in progress, although it's not yet scheduled between the two counties and I assume a Hudson 7 representative. The DOH's, the water quality issue prioritization survey had also been circulated to the county. So we, Department of the Environment, coordinated with our health department and planning staff, and we also submitted the responses. I think there was 12 water quality issues, and so we ranked them and submitted that survey as well this week. And then the last thing I also had was related to water resources mapping. Brad, not sure if you mentioned it, but we had a really productive discussion across many departments in Ulster and Dutchess County who were represented at this meeting, a virtual meeting last week. And we just started, just brainstorming some potential ideas. Again, both counties, to my understanding, are going to have these web mapping portals, right? These online mapping portals as part of their natural resources inventories in the next 1 to 2 years. So there's certainly an opportunity to host data if we get, say, data from the Department of State folks and other local and regional data sets that we can tap into. So that's certainly something that was that we're already thinking about. And then additionally, what's public versus private as far as linking back to the source water protection plans. Of course, first and foremost for the Hudson 7, right? That'll be one of the coordinators' kind of first tasks, it sounds like. But then also, of course, for other municipalities that want to embark on source water protection planning, mapping and just planning projects in general in the future. So that's all I have.
Great. This is great stuff. Thank you, Europa, and thank you, Brad. Okay. I'm going to move on to public comment. I do not see anybody on for public comment.
There's no public comment tonight, Gary.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to move into actions for Hudson 7 priorities. If you remember last month, we took on Hudson 7 membership, and Russ Gilmore was appointed by his board to represent. And I believe we received the resolution. Russ, is that correct?
We did.
So super. So thank you for sending that. And again, welcome back.
Gary, we just had somebody enter in on a phone line. 7453. Sorry to interrupt, just to make sure. It might be Emily.
Brad got dropped and had to re-enter.
Okay, I'll say that was Brad.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as both Brad and Europa mentioned, the Hudson 7 coordinator position and the next step. It looks like it's moving forward at the county level. The brief discussion I'd like to have is, in the upcoming meeting, I would like to know who or how we would like to have from the Hudson 7 Council be represented at this meeting. I'm going to start off and say that I want to be there, and I will gladly take the lead, but I would like to open the invitation for other members of the council to attend with us when we have this discussion, this joint discussion. So of the members here, is there anybody that would like to join us? Randy, thank you.
I'd be interested in attending.
Dan, thank you. All right. So so when that gets scheduled, I'll reach out to both Randy and Dan, and we'll invite them. And is that fine with you, Brad and Europa?
Absolutely.
Very good.
Agreed.
Okay. Great. Thank you. And then, one of the things we need to still take on is how we need to update the IMA, which would be part of that discussion. Because I think I know we're going to need some legal help to make sure the upgrade to the updates to the IMA will work with us as we go forward to try to map this out. So that will be in part of the discussion for those who are attending. New York State Drinking Water Source Protection Program, DWSP2, grant.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you making out with the survey?
We received the results of the survey. However, I think Rebecca sent it Tuesday evening. Wednesday and Thursday are my in-office days. So those are the days where I'm on the state network, which blocks Google. So I have thus far been unable to review the results, but hoping to do that by next week. And then, Mike and I will discuss and hoping to get something on the books for early February with the DWSP2 subcommittee. How's that sound?
February?
Yeah.
Or did I say February?
Yeah.
Early April,
Yeah.
if that's okay with folks. We are unavailable. Mike and I are unavailable next week. So early April, if that's all right with folks.
Would you like to go back and review with the committee those results first, or how would you like to?
You know what? Actually, that sounds like a good idea. So we could,
One
yeah,
update
that'd be
for
good.
you, Grant, just that all of the municipalities took the survey, all the water operators and of the 5 plants, as well as Ulster County, who also took the survey. So Brad, if you still want to take the survey for Dutchess County, that would be great. But beyond that, everybody has done it. So that's great, at least the
Okay.
water operators.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we're hoping to review that tomorrow. We had another meeting scheduled for tomorrow and that just got canceled. But yeah, so we'll start taking a look at that tomorrow, and then we can get something on the books to go over that. Either Monday or Tuesday next week, or early sometime 2 weeks from now, depending on what the subcommittee's availability is.
I'm not available next week. I can tell you
Okay,
that.
so we'll let's see. Next week is somehow April, not February. Do we want to go over this and in emails and save some time this evening?
So what I thought would be nice to do is just get the DWSP2 committee back together again shortly, present the results, but then I'd like to expand that out, a 2-step process to go out and then invite all the water operators as well.
Yeah, I like that idea. I've been in the process of reaching out to the various system operators. At this time, I think Randy was on vacation when I began this process. But I have, spoken with, we have spoken with Randy. But maybe we'll have one-on-one at some point, Randy, if you're here. And then I'm also trying to get in touch with Brian Alex. I think he's Rhinebeck's operator.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so I'm going to try to call him again, maybe tomorrow or next week if he's available, or if you know when the best time to reach him is.
If you have trouble getting through to him, just let me know. I can always ping him for you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
But yeah, so tentatively what about the 4th or the 5th of April?
I'm going to say tentatively it works for me. The sooner we get it on the calendar, the better.
4th is better than the 5th for me. I have a lot of
That's looking the same.
flexibility.
So Monday the 4th, does that work for folks?
It does for me.
Europa, Brad, Paul?
That sounds pretty good. That was
Wanna
Brad
choose a
saying
time?
sounds good.
Sorry, Brad.
All right, let me figure out a good time on my end really quickly.
weird question, but this can all still be virtual, right?
Yeah, I think virtual is, well, I would personally prefer virtual, just because I am about an hour. Mike and myself are both an hour away from any of the Hudson 7 locations.
I think that's fine
Yeah,
with me if everybody else agrees.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can we
absolutely.
do Monday at around 10 a.m. or Monday the 4th around 10 a.m.?
Hang on. I do have a meeting at 10.
Oh, no. Okay. Gary, I'm going to go ahead and guess that your schedule is probably more full than mine. So do you want to suggest a time on Monday?
I'll be honest with you right now, that's the only thing I have on my calendar right now.
Of course. All right. I'm going to go for 11 then. Does that work for you, Gary?
11 works for me.
Cool. Everybody else?
Cool.
Works for me.
Cool. If you don't mind, man, send out an invite so it's easy for to put on the calendar.
Yep. I will work on that right now.
Thank you. Anything else, Grant?
I think that's the big things on my end. Been a couple of busy couple of weeks on our end.
Okay, good. Looking forward to seeing some of this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. That wasn't Emily on the phone, was it? Who was that other number that joined?
I did just get hear from Emily that she's held up at work and won't be able to join us tonight.
Okay. All right.
So I do have a very quick update when it gets to the chippy on her back.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're at next for the transmission line update from Emily.
Okay, well, all she said was the next working group meeting is on the 31st, and anyone who wants to join can get in touch with her.
Cool. Very good. Paul, how about an update on the Esopus Creek and the ARWG meeting? There's a lot happening. You're muted, Paul.
One thing I just wanted to say is Rebecca really did a successful job in squelching the pilot for Ulster County for Chippy. And I just wanted to make sure that Brad's aware of that and whether Dutchess County is going to see the same request for a pilot as Ulster County. So on the Esopus, finally, after almost a year of trying to get on the committee, we're going to be at the meeting and we're even going to be allowed to speak, I think. So it's going to be very interesting. I am going to actually do a presentation because New York City is going to shut down the Delaware aqueduct. So everything is going to be really dependent on the Catskill, which could result in very high risk to get high turbidities or flooding, especially along the Esopus in Ulster County. So I'm going to be talking about that. And I'll just, since we got some time on the salt, everything, the testimony went in. I was approached by Tom Lynch from, he's from Marist College, who's also on the Climate Smart Task Force in the town of Poughkeepsie. Kate Mirandek from Siena. Also, I got her on my committee, and Roger Gibson from the Associated Press also called me and talked to me about it. I think he talked to you too, Gary, right?
Yes, he did.
So that's it. That's all I have.
Cool. Well, great progress. Thank you, Paul. Just your due diligence on staying after that was really, I think, the key to the success. So thank you. All right. We have a mess of old business, but there's nothing that we need action on. I'm just going to I'll read them off, and if somebody has a comment, since we have a couple minutes, we'll take comments on it. The Central Hudson cleanup, is there any updates from anybody? Randy's shaking his head, so let's moving on. Yeah. How about the CSX bridge? I haven't seen anything. And we haven't been out on the river the river keeper's boat isn't launched yet to know if anything's been done, correct?
Yeah, I think is planning to be back out in about a month's time if everything goes well. So that would be our first look, probably maybe for our next meeting or May, if not.
Yeah, good. Emily did the municipal code review, is not here. The Dutchess County Fire Training Center remediation. Any updates from anybody?
I don't have anything on that, Gary. That's DDC is taking charge of that.
Okay, thank you, Brad. The water and wastewater infrastructure. I don't remember what that one was about that we're carrying, to be honest with you.
I think that's just to make sure all the communities are supporting one another in applications for infrastructure and whatnot. So, I mean, the only thing, the letter that was authorized at the last meeting that went to the governor and the Assembly and Senate leaders to express the council's priority that infrastructure funding be included at a robust level in the budget did go through. And so that went out since our last meeting.
Great. When do we expect to hear, the funding requests that were put in? Just sidebar here in terms of, we're asking the state to allocate more money into the water infrastructure bills. Do we know when we may hear? Because the budget, it should be included in the budget, and I'm expecting the budget, to be coming forward pretty soon.
Yeah, we would think, we would know how much the state is allocated to any of these priorities as of April 1st, if they're on time.
Right.
I think the SALT study will probably be, it probably won't be a single line. It'll probably be part of either the estuary programs budget line or the climate programs budget line, so it won't be apparent, but we'll have to do some digging to make sure that that's sort of there. But beyond that, we'll have some sense of the overall. And then I think the applications, the Environmental Facilities Corp, most of the money kind of flows through different application processes there. And I don't have clear in my head when those deadlines are, but I'm sure those are the grant writers and the infrastructure managers have them in their calendars. And then presumably there'll be another CFA round for some of the water quality improvement projects and others this mid-year, I would guess.
Okay. And we also should be, for those of any, I don't know if any other municipalities have any of the EFC grant applications in, but it's usually late March when we start hearing about those as well. So I would say keep your antenna up if you do have applications in for that. The ice is off the river, so Randy has a clear view, as you can see. There's a picture behind him, but we should be on the lookout again for vessels parking near any one of our intakes. We had several incidences last year, so I'm just reminding everybody to keep an eye out for that. Shannon, you guys were the closest and had the biggest impact, so we just got to stay after them. Thank you.
Gary, I had a question.
Sure.
Sorry, it's Brad. There was that in the paper, Coast Guard had a big stakeholder meeting on safety with law enforcement. And I was wondering if we had heard anything about that.
I had not. Randy, Randy was attending most of those sessions with the Coast Guard before.
It was my understanding they're trying to get a meeting scheduled soon to
because there was a report,
activity on the river.
There was a report in the paper that it was a law enforcement one.
Yeah, it might not be the same, but there was a Coast Guard's going to try to set up a spill emergency happening in the Hudson River and see how the communication works, which might happen in the next month or so.
Great. Thank you, Randy. Good question, Brad. PCBs, we were carrying that. Paul, you were kind of covering anything there?
I don't have anything on
Okay.
PCBs.
And Paul, same thing, cybersecurity?
Well, as you know, with all the concern with the Russians these days, we really have to be careful because water treatment plants are being targeted. We haven't done much in this area, but it could be a real big problem.
Yeah, okay. And then the last one was a salt front update, which Paul, you covered previously. I don't expect anything to do that. So it's 6:01. Unless anybody else has anything they would like to add, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'd like to
Seconded.
say something.
Go ahead, Russ.
I don't know if the board is aware that we had a redistricting over here in the town of Lloyd, and we now have Sean Patrick Maloney as our congressman. So we have yet another congressman we might be able to lean on or make requests to. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, that's a good point, because it also happened here on the Dutchess side. Rhinebeck and Red Hook are now under Michelle Hinchy.
Mhm.
Really?
And I'm assuming since the redistricting maps have been out, they're now the incumbent. So I know, right? So we don't
That is
have to
correct.
wait. They're already in place.
Correct.
So we do have another state Senate representative under Michelle Hinchy here as well.
We'll add Maloney to your contact list, so that he's receiving your materials every month.
That'd be good. Thank you.
And I know that Michelle Hinchy is interested. She's already reached out to me and we're having conversations. She's interested in what's going on with Hudson 7 as well.
Great. She might be on, but I'll double check.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Gary,
Yes, Randy.
I just want to advise that we did complete building an office for the coordinator for the Hudson 7. So that's ready to go anytime.
Well, actually, we had that on the last meeting as well. So, but thank you.
Just one, yeah.
All right. I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Randy, thank you. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand. Video purpose. Very good. Enjoy your evening and happy St. Patty's Day.